Hey guys, it's Lori. I'm sitting here right now doing some converting. I'm converting my recipe into a double recipe. We're gonna make some chicken today. We're gonna make some K.F.C, keto fried chicken. You got it? K.F.C? Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure there's other people that have called it KFC, as it stands for keto fried chicken. So I think I'm being clever and original, but I'm probably not. I should look that up before I open my mouth, right? Anyway, I didn't look it up. But this is a recipe that I made before, and I promised some people that I would be making a video of this recipe. So that's what I'm going to do today. I know it's been a while, but this is the first time I'm making it since I made that promise. So it really is. But I am converting it to a double recipe because I have twice the amount of chicken to use. And the reason I'm using twice the amount of chicken this time is because my freezer got left open, if you don't know. So I had 2 packages of chicken, 2 big family packs. So that's what I'm using. It's sitting out on the stovetop right now, just on a tray with some salt on it, just waiting to be fried. And I also had to look up a substitution because one of the ingredients is dry mustard powder, and I don't have any. So I'm going to substitute, from what I understand, it's okay to substitute for a teaspoon of dry mustard powder. You can substitute a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Well, it calls for a tablespoon of dry mustard powder. So I'm doing some converting. I'm figuring it out. And I am writing down the double recipe, even though I could just use the regular recipe and just double everything as I go, right? Well, sure enough, I'm going to start doing the regular recipe and lose track of what I've done and what I've added, because I'll be like, oh, wait, that was supposed to be doubled. Did I double this? Did I double that? And I probably didn't. So I'm just doing it this way. All right, let me get this done and let's go make some KFC. All right, let's start with these spices. I'm just going to tell you what I have here. So I have a tablespoon. I'm telling you the recipe for the measurements, I should say, for a single recipe, although I doubled it. So I'm just telling you what it says on the recipe. A tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of ginger, a tablespoon of salt, and a tablespoon of pepper. We've got, let's see, this right here is paprika, and that calls for 3 tablespoons of paprika. This is, what do I got here? Oh yeah, I got 2 teaspoons of onion powder right here. And in this little dish, I have a combination. There's a teaspoon each of thyme, basil, oregano, and celery salt in this. Now it also calls for a tablespoon of dry mustard powder. I don't have any, so I'm substituting Dijon mustard. For a tablespoon of dry mustard powder, you would substitute 3 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. So that is what I'm substituting, but the Dijon mustard will go in with the wet ingredients, which I have right here. And I think it calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons of egg whites. So here's my egg whites right here, and I'm just using the liquid egg whites. Buttermilk, I'm going to be using a cup of buttermilk, and you can use just a whole egg if you prefer, but a whole egg kind of holds moisture a little bit, so the egg whites, from what I understand, will help it to be crispier. So I'm just using the liquid egg whites instead of a whole egg. I forgot to show you putting in the most important part, which is the protein powder. I know, what kind of recipe video is this, right? It could be any brand of protein powder. This is whey protein isolate. I suppose you could use other types, but this is the only type I've ever used. Unflavored. It needs to be unflavored. I used 2 cups of this protein powder. 2 cups is what you want for the recipe. So I have a lot of chicken here. So I just put all of the spices in with my protein powder in this container. I'm using this container because I think it'll be easier to get the chicken coated in this container. So as opposed to like a bowl, I suppose you could use a plate if you're doing like a smaller batch, but this is a huge batch. So a lot of this is going to go into the freezer for other meals. I'm just going to get this all whisked together. So I changed my plan a little bit. I'm actually mixing up the coating with the protein powder and all the spices in this mixing bowl. And I'm just gonna put it a little bit at a time in here. That way I don't waste any, because protein powder doesn't hold up real well to moisture. So I don't want to use this whole mixture at once, or else you're gonna end up with like gummy, clumped up protein powder in the bottom that isn't going to be usable, and there's probably going to be quite a bit that isn't usable once it gets moisture on it from the chicken. So if I do it this way and I have some left over, I can just save it for another time. So this is how I'm going to do it. Just put a little bit in here. Okay, so we're just going to use part of it at a time. Set it aside over there, and this is going to be the buttermilk and egg wash. Then it's going to go into here. Then it's going to go into the hot oil. I have the oil heating up, so I'll be right back with you. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start out with the chicken thighs. Get those down in this buttermilk. And let me just tell you, so I need to be using the other hand for this, but I'm going to do it like this just for this time, because I want to be able to pick up my camera and take you over to my pan. So yeah, but you want to wear gloves for this, even if you don't normally wear gloves, because once you dip a few of these, that protein powder gums up on your fingers like you wouldn't believe. I'm not kidding. It really does. Let me shake this up a bit. I'm trying not to get a bunch of moisture down into my protein powder. Here, I'll do it this way. All right. This is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to coat it one time like this. All right, we're going to take it over here to the hot oil and drop it down. You don't want to get these done, like you don't want to get them breaded ahead of time for this, because I kind of did that with my steak bites, and I knew I shouldn't have, but I did. But with protein powder, it doesn't coat it well after it sits for a few minutes, because it gets so gummy, I guess, and it just kind of comes right off. So just do like one piece at a time. Put it on there, get it pressed in there pretty good. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, so this first piece isn't going to look the best because I flipped it too soon. I just got a call from Hayden, and his bus is almost back from a football scrimmage, and I got to go pick him up. Ah! So I flipped that one too soon, but okay, we'll be back in a sec. I have my oil out because I wanted to remember to tell you I am using vegetable oil, but last time I did this, I used avocado oil. I just don't have enough avocado oil right now to deep fry with, so I'm almost out. This is messy. It's messy. It's greasy. You get protein powder all over. One more thing I want to mention is I'm putting these on this rack to cool with paper towels underneath the rack. I'm not laying them right on a paper towel. If you can do that, but if you do, the paper towel kind of keeps that moisture on the chicken, on the breading. So if you want it to be nice and crispy, I'm just doing whatever I can to make it nice and crispy. So the paper towels are under the rack to catch the grease. I'm going to show you this one real quick. I guess it might not look, well, it does look quite a bit different. I'm just trying to see, does it look much different on video? But this one, I forgot to dip it in buttermilk first. So it really does make a huge difference dipping it in buttermilk or not. I already had that one breaded, and I thought, oh, shoot. But I just left it like that. I also want to mention that I did use a meat thermometer, and it needs to read at least 165 inserted into the thickest part of the meat without touching the bone. So this probably looks really gross, but I've already wiped it out once. But that's how gummy it gets in the bottom. And this is my mess over here. I know, it looks gross, right? But it's a mess. This is messy. And the ones that are done last look darker, because look how dark my oil is after frying this many batches in the same oil. But it's still going to taste good, so there you go. Fried chicken. K.F.C. Keto fried chicken.